They traded back. This is RamView.
Out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Hang on, Los Angeles.
Live from the RamCave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the April 24th, 2025 Draft Night edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident, need help, got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. All right, the Rams did it. We thought they'd do it, and they moved out of the first round. What we're going to do is we're going to break down as fast as we can. I don't want to go too long tonight. It's a late night, and I know some of you folks out there on the East Coast are pushing midnight, but I'll get to the Ram stuff right now, and then we can talk about just kind of go down to the first round, just some of the things real quick, buzz through them. Thanks for clicking on, guys. I appreciate you being here. Bill, Tim Burns, actually, I have to say it was one of the more enjoyable draft nights that I've been a part of in a long time. Just not because interacting, because I've always interacted with friends, but it was just the idea that there was a lack of desperation in the Rams house, so to speak, right? There just wasn't that, oh, you better get that guy, you better get that guy. The Rams were operating from strength, and so what were they going to do? What were they going to do? And there were so many things we were all good with. And then I was really disappointed when the Giants traded up to 25 because I thought that's what the Rams should be getting, right? And because they got, let's see, I think the trade with the Texans, I think the Giants sent the Texans the 34th and 39th overall. And I would that in a heartbeat for the Rams, but it was the Texans that made the deal. And the Giants got Jackson Dart. So Jackson Dart climbed out of the third round, late first round from back in January during the Senior Bowl workouts and made it to the first round. And Shedeur Sanders, who was talking about who people were projecting as top 5, fell out of the first round, although I think he's going to be drafted early tomorrow. And then we get to the 26th pick, and you could see it on the crawl. At least I was watching it on NFL Network. You could see it on the crawl. Okay, Rams are 26. I'm making my notes. And I go, no, that says Atlanta. And then immediately you knew the Rams had made a deal. The Rams give up number 26 this year and number 101, which was the Raheem Morris compensatory pick. They send that to Atlanta. They get Atlanta's 46th this year, 242 this year, which gives us a 7th round choice where Rams have done pretty good work in the 7th round before, and a number 1 next year. I would have liked one more pick in the first round. I wouldn't want to give up that 101. It's going to make tomorrow a little less exciting, I think. But that 46th spot is perfect for where the Rams need to draft a corner or something else. That's a good place to draft another receiver if you want it. That's a great place to maybe draft a tight end, although I think the tight end would come later at maybe pick 90 or 127. And as Bill just kind of suggested there, that trade, is talking about Arch Manning. Now, I haven't had, the how do you say it? The flush, the rush, the gush for Arch Manning yet. I want to see him play the whole year. But whatever the case is, even Mr. Kistler chimed in with me. He says it's about Arch Manning, and what it is the Rams have a lot of chips now. They got 2 first-round picks in next year's draft. If Atlanta does Atlanta things and they tank, right, they fall apart. I don't know if they will, but if they do, Rams are going to have 2 picks. Even if you have 2 picks, let's hope the Rams are picking at 32, and let's just say Atlanta's picking at 25 or 20 or 26. That's 2 chips in the first round of what's expected to be a deep draft. And with more quarterbacks in this draft, not just Arch Manning, it's going to push a lot of talent to the back of the draft that you can continue to build your team. So you'll have draft partners. So I don't know if Arch Manning's the guy, But if he is the guy, the Rams are in a position to make that move. And so, yeah, what is this? This is the 9th draft of the McSnead era, and they still have only had one first-round draft pick. And I think we're all good with it. Getting that number 1 next year was pretty incredible. I don't think anybody foresaw that. Let's look at your questions, and then we'll go from there. As Bill said, this trade's about next year. I agree. Bill, kind of sucks this year. We go back 20 picks and lose a 3rd rounder. I think it's just what everyone was kind of feeling about this draft. It wasn't a great draft. One of you guys got on here. I'm not sure who it was. If it was Gilbert or Manuel. We're saying that things you were reading is that the Rams weren't enamored with what they were seeing in this year's draft. And the other thing we didn't want to do, as we were talking for the last couple of weeks, was I didn't want them to reach at 26 for a cornerback that is mostly a 2nd-round potential. Even though the Bills got Maxwell Harrison, a guy the Rams, had circled a little bit, seems like a good dude. They took him at what, 30, 29, someplace in there? We'll get to it. And they took him at 30. And, that for where Buffalo's at and what their needs were, okay. But I think they're in a sweet spot for those cornerbacks that we've been talking about. Who's on the board still in terms of corner? Let me see this here real quick. I'm scrolling it up. Here we go. Zy Alexander, LSU. Dorian Strong, Virginia Tech. Oz Thomas, Florida State. Siobhan Revelle, East Carolina. And then a couple of guys. These are later round guys or young drafted free agents. Upton Stout, Amri Anur. None of those guys that we've just mentioned would be number 26 viable, right? Do they become 46 viable or a little later? Yeah, absolutely. And so I think they're in a really good spot. If they took a receiver, the receivers the Rams have interviewed, worked out that are still around. Isaac Tesla, Isaiah Bond, Tony Horton, Trey Harris. And I think everyone's kind of gone south on Tez Johnson. I don't think Tez Johnson's going to figure, even though the Rams did work him out and interview him. Tight end still on the board. Gunnar Helm, Mason Taylor, Thomas Fidone. That is Manuel Correa's guy there. So I'm happy with what they take here, right? I'm going to be really happy with what they take at 46 because you didn't have to move up or spend capital for that. So that was a good move. Tim Burns, how did Luther Burden tank so far? Yeah, that's interesting. How many wide receivers went in the first round? I'm looking at this right now. Tet McMillan. I mean, you could call Travis Hunter a wide receiver, but you start working your way through, and you see the 2 tight ends. You see Colston Loveland jumping, Tyler Warren. But I'm looking Emeka Egbuka. There's 3, and Matthew Golden 4. The teams with needs, you're looking at some of these teams. Ravens had defensive issues. Falcons had defensive issues. Lions had defensive issues. Taxkins went offensive line. Eagles just doubled down with Jihad Campbell. So there just wasn't room. I don't know if he was bad. I just think there was what teams had. I thought there were a lot of smart draft picks tonight. I thought intelligent draft picks. A couple of them are all-time bad, and we'll talk about that. Let's see. Tim Burns, it comes down to, did we have to get a quarterback or wide receiver at 26? No, emphatically. Another first in a deeper draft? Yes, please. It was a wise move. It really was. KJ Brazil. KJ, thanks for joining us tonight. It looks like Dart was their guy. You think Dart was the guy? You think the Rams were going to draft Dart at 26? I get the feeling now they weren't. That's my feeling. That's my feeling. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure stuff will leak out. Tim Burns, I literally fist in the air, jumped up when they traded out. It felt good to get something right tonight, right? It felt good. I was wrong on everything, it feels like, but we did say the Rams would trade out, and they did. Gilbert Gonzalez, everyone the Rams wanted went away early, so the Rams got a first for next year. Do you want Sanders, Dart, or the best quarterback next year, Art, over whoever? I agree. I like Dart. I'm not gonna say I don't like Dart. I like Dart, but I like this outcome. And I would say that if they didn't trade out, I kind of wanted more picks in the first 100 this year, but that's okay. I'm good. Manuel Vasquez, I think the Rams paid too much. I didn't think that third rounder should have been included. It was a first rounder, 2 first rounders swapped, and then you had a third and a second being flipped. That's basically what it comes down to. I'm okay with it. I'm okay because you go into a deeper draft next year with 2 first-round picks, right? That's kind of exciting. Also, I got to say, I might have texted Burns. I know I spoke to Mid-Valley sports guy Dwayne Barker. That, do you get the feeling the Rams are done? Do you get the feeling they're done? I don't know. I could see them doing something tomorrow and making some moves. I am curious to see how it plays out. ESG, man, I hope Atlanta has an awful season. You and me both, brother. I hope they do. Remember, they're pinning their hopes on a couple of edge guys they got, and edge guys don't always hit the ground running in the NFL. That's my beef, not my beef, but my hope for the 49ers and their draft pick is that they're not all Jared Verse when they come in. And so, yeah, I do hope they tank. Tim Burns, we can still pull a Tyler Shugg or Dylan Gabriel late. Wide receiver depth in this draft is insane. We can get plenty of 1,000 yards, 75 reception receivers later. Hey, the guy that I was thinking about that's kind of fallen off the radar a little bit is Jack Besh. Jack Besh was, he has all those Ram traits. What if the Rams took him at 46? That would be pretty interesting. Dylan Gabriel is somebody who I have not heard any buzz about. You go back about 6 weeks ago, you heard some buzz. I have not heard any buzz about Dylan Gabriel. I'm wondering if he even gets taken in the 4th round. Maybe he drops to the 5th. That'll be interesting. Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe, our second favorite team. Is anyone playing the Falcons? Can you imagine if the Falcons had a top 5 bad record? Oh, yeah, I can imagine it. It would be marvelous, right? It would be marvelous. KJ Brazil, they have to get a quarterback soon, but I thought they would move up to get Golden or the corner from Texas. So what we learned is that the Rams will not reach in the 1st round. I think they're going to be cautious a little bit. Again, there was nothing they loved. I think that was apparent. Matthew Golden went a little higher than I think we thought. I'm going to talk about that. You talk about the receivers they already have in Green Bay. Just curious of how that dynamic is working. Just really, really interesting. Let's see, Bill. Do they trade the 46 and pick up an extra picks or more draft capital next year? Let's remember when they took Braden Fisk, the Rams traded this year's 2nd round to move up to 39. So we never know. There maybe somebody drops and the Rams feel like, oh, we got to get this guy. Maybe they make another move. That's why I just wouldn't count it out that something's not going to be done. RJ, wow, from Sweden. What happened? Just woke up. Oh, the draft happened, RJ. Thanks for clicking on. I hope you're having a great morning there in Scandinavia. Rams traded out of the 1st round. They're picking at 46, and they're picking at 242. They picking at 90. They lost their 101st pick to the Falcons. They traded their 1st round pick and their 101st pick, 3rd round, to the Falcons for the Falcons 46th, a 242, a 7th rounder, and next year's Falcons #1 pick. So pretty interesting night there. Tim Burns, I agree with KJ. They wanted Dart. Giants like a certain kind of quarterback, and Sanders isn't that. Wait a second. Tim Burns, are you saying that the Rams wanted Dart or the Giants wanted Dart? Because then I would go back and agree with KJ. I wasn't sure if the Rams wanted Dart. If you say the Giants did, I agree. Giants did. Let's keep rolling here. Bill, Rams have 3 6th rounders and 2 7th rounders next year. Really? Because what do we have this year? Like 4 6th rounders? I'll have to go back and look at that. KJ Brazil, I thought the Rams would pull the trigger on the linebacker from Alabama, but that did not come to fruition. That one, that Campbell dude kind of grew on me the last week or so. Yeah, did you see him? Something about him when he came across the stage. I'm like, oh gosh, that guy looks like a bad dude. He looks like a bad dude. It's like The Eagles just doubled down on bad dudes. Those guys went from 32 to 31 to make sure they got him. It's funny why they would move up, because it was obvious the Chiefs needed help on that offensive line, but I guess the Eagles felt like they really needed to go. Let's see. Gilbert Gonzalez. With the second, they get the UCLA linebacker. Really? Schweisinger at 46? I want a corner. I think I want a corner at 46. We'll see. KJ Brazil. But based on how much they take stock in drafting a linebacker, that would explain trading out of 26th. Overall, they got more draft clout for 2026. Yeah. And I think Ernest Jones at 103 is the highest the Rams have drafted a linebacker. I think that is. Let's see. Manuel Correa chiming in. What's up? RJ, I expected they would get out of the first round. There really wasn't anything we needed. That's what it sounded like anyway. Yeah, it was kind of exciting just to kind of figure out what they do, because there wasn't this desperate need. Oh, there's things they needed to add some depth on and some things they needed to add, but nothing in a desperate way. That's why the draft was reading like a Tom Clancy novel. You didn't know how it was going to go. It was pretty interesting. Manny Correa, no Sanders, no Dart. No, Dart went to the Giants and Sanders went nowhere. But let's get into, as you guys are clicking on, keep throwing questions. I do appreciate you being here. There's a lot of post-draft stuff you guys could be clicking on right now, and you're choosing me. I do appreciate that. All right, first-round pick, Cam Ward, Miami. I think everyone saw that. News broke today. The Titans signed Tyler Lockett, go with Calvin Ridley, some of the other talent they're kind of amassing there for Cam Ward. Third straight year, the Titans have issued a premium pick, first 3 rounds, on a quarterback. In 2022, in the third round, they took Malik Willis. 2023, they took Will Levis. 2024, obviously, they've taken Cam Ward. Previous number ones, Marcus Mariota in 2014, Jake Locker in 2011, Vince Young in 2006, and before that, you got to go back about 12 years, Steve McNair in 1995. Does anyone know who the then Houston Oilers took in the first round as a quarterback in the mid-1980s? If you do, let me know. Watching the draft, I got to tell you, I don't want to hear about good deeds. I don't want to hear about how good the NFL is. I don't want to hear about platforms or communities. I just want to hear the draft. So I got that out of my way. It's probably going to be a whole bunch more of that tomorrow. Then Jacksonville moved up with Cleveland. The Jags sent their 5th round, their 36th, their 126th, and their first next year to take Travis Hunter, right? I thought that was a great move. No state tax for Travis, so that's why he's pretty happy. He comes across as genuine, and now you get to pair this dude with Brian Thomas. Pretty good move there for the Jaguars. Jaguars GM, former Ram executive, Gladstone, right? Their OC, Liam Cohen. Yeah. No, he's not their OC. He's their head coach, Liam Cohen. So a little bit of a Ram flavor there. Number 3, Abdul Carter to Penn State. I thought the Giants had other needs. They got Brian Burns. They got Kayvon Thibodeau. I never thought much of Thibodeau, but they got him. And then they drafted Carter. I think Thibodeau does not get a second contract. I'm just guessing. I would have moved back. Carter's a great player, but I thought they had edges. Klatt said, Carter could have a Micah Parsons impact. I think Micah Parsons is a bit overrated. So he better play better than that. And then, of course, we saw what the Giants did moving back into the first round. So it's all good. Patriots at number 4 took Will Campbell. I think that one was nailed from the get-go. Cam Ward won. Everyone knew that. Pretty much Patriots at number 4, Will Campbell. Smart move, right? Not sexy, but long game. And who's not going to root for Will Campbell the way he got emotional, right? Pats brought in Morgan Moses, right tackle, former Viking center Garrett Bradbury, and now they have Will Campbell. And basically, we don't know if it's going to be a great offensive line, but at least it will be an NFL offensive line. Number 5, Browns draft Mason Graham. They also have draft capital. Wait till you see their second-round draft capital. Cleveland needs everything, so it was a good pick. I expected maybe another trade back, but they also have picks tomorrow, I think 33 and 36. They lost Dalvin Tomlinson to Arizona, so this was a good pick for them. Raiders took Ashton Genty, which I thought was great. I think it was a very smart pick, very Pete Carroll. They took Josh Jacobs, number 1 in 2019. Before that, the last time they took a running back in the first round, Darren McFadden, 4th overall out of Arkansas in 2008. McFadden, he killed me in fantasy football. Before that, Napoleon Kaufman in 1995 out of Washington. And then in 1982, they took a guy that everyone thought was going to be a wide receiver out of USC named Marcus Allen. Number 7, Jets draft Armand Membu. This trend of drafting smart guys, just building depth along your team and building from the ground up. I thought it was a great business decision. They forego the flash. They're playing the long game. And it's interesting about Membu. Membu was projected to the Rams in a mock draft going back to early February. The first mock draft we looked at was Armand Membu from Missouri going to the Rams. Number 8, first true wide receiver off the board. The Tet offensive, Tatario McMillan, weapon for Bryce Young. They could have gone defense, but this was a good move. The Panthers signed Bobby Brown and Christian Roseman, so I think they got a lot of faith in those guys. Saints take Kelvin Banks. Dave Ramczyk just retired. A great, really practical pick instead of reaching for a quarterback there. Saints have holes everywhere on the offensive line. They got a quarterback issue. Banks looks like a good dude. Hope he does well and hope he gets pancaked by Jared Verse this fall. Let's see here. Note, I didn't need to know when their schedule was going to be released. We all knew the schedule was going to be released. I thought that was unnecessary hype, but I did not mind the mention of Steve McMichael's passing. I thought it was kind of classy. Let's see. Number 10, the Bears. Colston Loveland jumps in front of Tyler Warren and that versatility that Ben Johnson likes. They got Loveland. They drafted Romo Dunze last year, and they completely rebuilt that offensive line. Great draft for the Bears. They got some more picks coming. Number 11, 49ers. This is one I thought was a reach. I really thought this was a reach. I thought they may have had an opportunity to secure their offensive line because Trent Williams is getting older and that offensive line's kind of in disarray. But they drafted Mikael Williams out of Georgia. Not a bad player, but they drafted out of need. In fact, to me, it came across as desperate, and it feels like they're not going anywhere. As a Ram fans, I love the Fog City pick. And again, not every edge player comes into the NFL like Jared Verse. So I think the 49ers, I think they should have gone more base here and rebuilt that offensive line. Cowboys took Tyler Booker, Alabama, another offensive lineman. Sounds like he's a high character guy. And then you see the Cowboy fans celebrating. And Cowboy fans are the definition of the suspension of disbelief, right? Maybe Booker, because he's out of Alabama, is the next John Hanna. Maybe he is. Let me come back and look at you guys real quick here. Sorry about that, guys. I got kind of caught up there. Let's see. Tim Burns. I still sense Travis Hunter is going to be an issue guy. Sense the trouble, and I back up he will never be all pro. My thing about Travis Hunter is not necessarily him. It's the company he keeps, man. His girlfriend made me real nervous at the Heisman Award thing there. That one was kind of sus to me. Let's see. ESG. You let me know what that one means. Maybe that was a misprint. Unsneed see trust. Oh, unsneed we trust. Okay, now I know what you mean. There you go. Manuel Correa. Luther Burden, Nick Emanowari, he's still there. And, of course, Trey Amos. There you go. RJ, appreciate you, Pastor Joe. Thank you, RJ. I appreciate that from around the world. I do. KJ, thank you. Thank you, KJ. Steve Ramirez, thanks for joining us, Steve. I like the Rams move. I do, too. I really do. Manny Correa, let's get Donovan Easy Edge from Boston College. Oh, okay. Donovan, okay. I know who that guy is. I don't want him at 46, though. I think I want something else. Manny Correa, I'm feeling Jake Besh or Jaden Higgins tomorrow. I got word from a person in the room with the Chargers, the Mid-Valley Sports guys. They think that Jaden Higgins can go to the Chargers tomorrow, and they do. They drafted Omarion Hampton, but they need receivers. Tim Burns, does anyone know why there were no kids on bikes on stage before the first pick? Odd. Little Wayne was too small to ride them, though. Oh, there you go. There you go. How about Clay Matthews saying, I got a message from President Trump. And now you hear the little bit of a roar there. And then he says, President Trump says the Bears still suck. I thought that was like, oh, man. I thought it was kind of funny that Matthews would do that. Dano, thanks for joining us, Dano. Tight end Elijah Arroyo could be a possibility. Does anyone like him at 46? I don't know if I like him at 46, but do you know who climbed the ladder? Who climbed the ladder this week was Mason Taylor out of LSU. He'd be somebody to keep an eye on. Manuel Correa, there he is. Francisco Mayagoya, Miami late rounds. Justin Barron, Syracuse. Okay, 127. Get Barron at 127. There you go. Manuel Correa. Elijah Arroyo is a savage. Okay, you guys sell me on it, and I'll go. Tim Burns, out of the box take. I like Cam Ward coming in with a classy cream-colored kit on. Oh, okay. You know what? I am over Tux is visible from space, or coming with their own battery pack, right? You're right about that. Now that I think back at it, it was pretty conservative. Manuel Correa, I'm feeling before draft is over, Thomas Fedone, Nebraska will be a Ram. Okay. All right. Hey, let's keep rolling here. Kenneth Grant, Steeler fan Rob in Missouri, who is drinking way too much of the water from the Mississippi or something. He kept saying the Steelers aren't going to draft a quarterback. They're going to take Kenneth Grant. They're going to take Kenneth Grant, right? Or Derek Harmon. And then the Dolphins jumped up. Well, not jumped up. They were there at 13. They took Kenneth Grant. A lot of Michigan people. You know who else fell out of the first round for Michigan? Cornerback Will Johnson. Will Johnson was projected as high as inside the top 10 this year, and he went out of the first round. But Kenneth Grant, another Michigan player. I didn't think the Dolphins with their head coach and everything would do that. I thought they'd go offensive line, but you can't go wrong with a Michigan man these days. At number 14, Colts took Tyler Warren, Penn State. Outside of Will Campbell at 4, Cam Ward at number 1, the most consistent person you saw taken in the 14th slot was Tyler Warren, Penn State. So much so that even Colston Loveland jumped him. I think you got big money in Vegas if you could have got a bet down that said Loveland will go ahead of Warren, right? I didn't think Warren would last that long, and I think he's someone the Colts desperately need. They need some more receivers there. Falcons took Jalen Walker. At one time, he was mocked to the Rams once early on, and he dropped to number 15, and he was looking like top 10 pick, 11, 9 in some places. And, just part of the rebuilding of the defense for Raheem Morris there. So it's a good grab for him. Plus, he's a homegrown product just to help that Falcons defense. Well, let's just hope Leonard Floyd and Morgan Fox get a lot of playing time in Atlanta this year, right? There you go. Cardinals at number 16 took Walter Nolan, Ole Miss. I thought they're getting serious about defense. They signed Dalvin Tomlinson and Calais Campbell to compete now, and now they got Walter Nolan. They also took Darius Robinson last year, whose rookie year was a wash. But they got Walter Nolan not only for now, but also for tomorrow. And the 49ers are plugging holes because they continue to make bad decisions with the salary cap. But the Cardinals seem to have a plan in place, and they seem like they're doing it slow, but they're doing it right. That's the team that scares me most in the division in 2025. It really is. Keep an eye on the Cardinals because I don't think they're messing around, right? Something to think about. Number 17, Bengals took Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M. Since he needed him, he was someone the Rams interviewed. Stewart is going to have to back up the dude, though. He comes in like a bad dude. He better play like a bad dude. If he plays like a bad dude, great. But he flashed a lot of bad dude. And, my experience is not everyone that flashes bad dude is bad dude. So he really needs to be a bad dude for the Bengals defense. Number 18, Seahawks went smart. There was talk about them taking a receiver. There was talk about them loving Agabuka. There was talk about them loving McMillan. But instead, they took the North Dakota State guy, Gray Zabel, who was projected late first round, early second round. They took him at 18, and I thought it was a good pick because they could have moved back and got him, but I'm guessing there were no partners. That interior of the Seattle offensive line has been a disaster for a decade. And I'm not saying Zabel's going to be bad or that Zabel's going to be the next John Hanna, but that was a good move for the Seahawks. That was a good move. And then at number 19, this one surprised me. Emeka Ugabuka from Ohio State with Mike Evans. We know he's got a lot of mileage, still playing great. They re-signed Chris Godwin, which I didn't expect. And then Jalen McMillan, they just got him out of Washington last year. And for a defensive coach like Todd Bowles, Liam Cohen left, and for them to make a move to say, no, we know we need to focus on offense, they draft Emeka Ugabuka. Buccaneers are playing for keeps. That was pretty impressive. Regarding draft hype, I'm cool with the Make-A-Wish stuff. All the Make-A-Wish stuff, I'm good. Number 20, Broncos draft Jahdae Barron out of Texas. He dropped to number 20, but they went after him, and they gave up. They didn't draft another receiver for Bo Nix. They didn't take Omarion Hampton, but they got Barron, and they're going to team him up with Patrick Surtain. That's a pretty good corner tandem there in Denver. I mean, really good, right? Might even be better than Lewis Wright and Steve Foley. I mean, that was a really good corner tandem there, so that's exciting for them. And then here's the most perplexing pick of the night, because I am friends with Steeler fan Rob in Missouri. We grew up together, and he's always giving me trash about, the Steelers got 6 titles, but he's like Egypt. Egypt doesn't talk about today's glory. Egypt talks about yesterday's glory. And he's terrified they're going to draft Shedeur Sanders, right? Maybe even Jackson Dart. I think he'd have been better with Jackson Dart. And what do the Steelers do? Remember, they got Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson on the roster, right? They take Derek Harmon, defensive tackle from Oregon. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but what they did with that, if they think that they can draft Harmon and then they're going to sign Aaron Rodgers. You know what Aaron Rodgers has probably said? He said, yeah, I'll sign with you guys, but I'm going to Egypt again. Or going on another darkness retreat. You'll see me when you see me for it, whatever, right? And I thought that was a really bad move by the Steelers. Incredibly dumb.
That is incredibly jejune.
I don't know what they're thinking. I have no idea. That was, to me, it was obviously the worst pick in the first round. And it's not because he's bad, but they had Jackson Dart there. They should have taken a swing at Jackson Dart. I don't care if you whiffed on Kenny Pickett. You needed to take a swing. In fact, it was such a bad quarterback room that they should take a swing on Shedeur at 21. They needed to take a swing. And I had Steeler fan Rob drinking his whiskey or whatever he's drinking out there, and he's telling me Mason Rudolph is better than any quarterbacks that are left on the board at that point. And I thought, man, I think even Mr. Burns saw the suspension of the lack of suspension of disbelief. It was like, are you kidding me? So yeah, bad move by the Steelers. 22, the Chargers took Omarion Hampton. I was on the text with Dwayne Barker from Mid-Valley Sports there. He said Omarion. I said, I liked Omarion, but they need a receiver. I mean, they're running Mike Williams and Quentin Johnson out there. Justin Herbert needs help. They lost Colston Loveland, but I like the pick because I think Hampton is really good. And now you're going to pair Hampton with Najee Harris. I would make sure I find a way to put those guys on the field at the same time. I would. Just, someone lines up in a slot, someone rotates out. Get them on the field at the same time. They can both hit the hole, but they're also playmakers. And that would be a good move for the Chargers. Packers then take Matthew Golden at number 23. Mr. Burns has a bit of a stroke because he wanted Matthew Golden. But here's the funny thing. The Packers have Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson. I know he's hurt, and Dontavian Wicks. Those aren't bad receivers. And I was wondering why everyone was screaming for them to get another receiver. Well, they got another receiver. They did. There you go. Packers take Matthew Golden out of Texas, one of the few guys the Rams had interviewed. Vikings take Donovan Jackson, Ohio State. He was the guy that played left guard, moved out to left tackle after Josh Simmons got hurt. That's a good move for the Vikings. If the Rams stayed at 26 and drafted him, I would have liked it. I really would have. Then we get to 25, and the Giants trade with the Texans, and they send the Texans number 34 and number 39 overall. Couldn't they have done that deal with the Rams? But Rams didn't get a first-round pick there, so the Rams playing the long game. I like Jackson Dart. I think 25 is fair. I think number 25 is fair. And if he stinks on ice, you move off him. It's not like you drafted him in the top 5, right? So I think that was a good move by the Giants, especially coming off the Abdul Carter thing. You needed an offensive player, and there's no pressure right away for him to play. You got Jameis Winston, you got Russell Wilson, and Tommy DeVito. I think he's going to go back home to eat his mom's cooking. And then at 26, Rams trade with the Falcons. We talked about that. And the Falcons end up taking James Pierce Jr., Tennessee edge. Again, these aren't great edge rushers. These aren't guys that were projected like the kid from UCLA last year. His name was too hard to pronounce. Dallas Turner from Alabama. And, of course, Jared Verse. And Jared Verse is the only one who really exploded there. And they reached for James Pierce at 26. So the Falcons are rolling the dice there that Jalen Walker and James Pierce are going to revive that defense. And if they don't, the Rams are going to have some really good options in 2026. Number 27, Ravens took Malachi Starks as a guy the Rams interviewed. Ravens had defensive issues last year. Great pairing with Kyle Hamilton. I think that's a good move. I think he would have fit perfectly with the Rams. I don't want to draft a safety at 27. Let's see. I think some more questions came in real quick, guys. Sorry, I wasn't there. Let's see. Barron at 127 would be nice. There you go. Rob Swords, why would we take a quarterback in the first that isn't worth a first-round pick? Because you don't have a quarterback, Steeler fan Rob. You don't have a quarterback, and you think you're going to sign Aaron Rodgers, which is great, but Aaron Rodgers is going to come in and do what Aaron Rodgers does, right? He's going to be less desperate because you're out of options. Are you going to trade for Kirk Cousins? And you don't even have a second-round pick. So did you bring DK Metcalf in so Mason Rudolph can throw him the ball? I don't know. Everyone makes a mistake in the first round. Everybody does. Big deal. You make one mistake. You make one mistake. Tim Burns, Igabuka, and Golden before Burden is as surprised as Burden was rated as high as 91 overall. Did not know that. Rob Sorge, Harmon is a Cam Hayward replacement. Yeah, great. But you're going to be the same team. And TJ Watt's getting older. Do you think TJ Watt says, you know what? I like Cam Hayward. We need another defensive tackle. But who's going to get me to the playoffs, man? Yeah, Cincinnati's going to be better. Cleveland will be competitive. And Baltimore is going to be really good. And you guys are going to be left out again. Gilbert Gonzalez. Plus, the Steelers do not have a second. So let's trade Jimmy G. Yeah, Rob, you want Steeler fan Rob, you want Jimmy G? We'll give you Jimmy G for the Steelers first next year. Rob Sorge, Steelers, Egypt again, man. You're still living in Egypt back in those early dynasties. Tim Burns, DK Metcalf is pissed off because Pitt had to take Shador or Dart. Rudolph or Metcalf? Rudolph to Metcalf. GM has to lose his job over quarterback handling of the last 3 years. Tim Burns, anyone welfare check. Steeler fan Rob, proof of life. You're smoking the weed. Oh no, man. I think you're drinking the Mississippi runoff there. All right. Lions took Tyleek Williams, defensive tackle, Ohio State. Good call. Good move for that. They have DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil, but they got a lot of wear on their tires. And I know the thing is edge, but there wasn't a lot of edge options there. So that was a good pick for them. Maybe they get some pressure up the middle. And then this guy, number 29, the Texans take Josh Connerly from Oregon. Connerly was the most mocked player to the Rams this draft season. What I mean is that most of all the mocks that we looked at, Josh Connerly was projected to the Rams the most. Good call. At number 29, he's not overdrafted. This is a good move. Again, a lot of smart moves outside of Pittsburgh this draft season. They pair him with Laramie Tunsil, who they took from Houston. Texans are getting serious. All they got to do is put their name back to the Redskins, and we're dancing. Number 30, the Bills took Maxwell Harrison, one guy that the Rams had some time with. He seems like a good dude. I was looking at their depth chart. You have Christian Benford, who they just extended, who they struck gold with a couple years ago. And the other corner opposite him, projected up until tonight, was Trey White. So you knew they weren't going to go into a season with Trey White and Christian Benford, right? Because no one would even be looking at Benford's side of the field. So Maxwell Harrison was a good pick, and a good pick when you think about, the Dolphins wide receivers, when you think about the Jets and Garrett Wilson, and yeah, good pick. And, no place for Stephon Diggs to go when the Patriots come to play, right? So good pick by the Bills. And then at number 31, the Eagles, which I think they could have got this guy at 32. The Eagles trade up with the Chiefs for Jahad Campbell. And think about this. They just extended Zach Bond. Campbell scares me. I got to tell you, there's some guys that put off a vibe that they could be bad dudes. Jihad Campbell is a bad looking dude. And I think that's gold for the Eagles. And then the Chiefs, Josh Simmons. Josh Simmons was another guy projected quite a bit to the Rams. They had to do that. They got Jalen Moore. They needed to do this. They needed to make this pick. It's a bit desperate. They are desperate on the offensive line. I didn't think the Chiefs would be going defense, and that's why I was surprised the Eagles traded up. I don't know what they gave. It probably wasn't very much to go from 32 to 31. All right, let's keep rumbling here real quick. Let's see. USA Expat. I'm sticking with my prediction from yesterday on who they pick. Okay. All right. Paul Kistler. Will the Rams take a running back in the second round? There's guys out there, right? There's guys out there. But are there guys out there you can get at 90 instead of 46? And again, I'm just curious, if something pops, is there going to be someone out there the Rams say, you know what? We'll trade a couple of sixth rounders and a third rounder next year for a high pick at 72 in the third round or 65. Just kind of curious. They could be very well, they could be done, but you just don't know if the Rams are going to be done. You just never know. Tim Burns, 6 top 10 CBs still available. All those guys are still there, including Will Johnson, Paul Kistler. It is a deep running back class. Absolutely. Hey, let me get to this, guys. I didn't even think we'd go this long. Okay, let's look at the second round. The 33rd pick and the 36th pick in the second round belong to the Browns. I think Shador is going to get taken someplace in there. The Texans have 34, Tennessee 35. Las Vegas comes back at 37. Good for them. New England comes back at 38. And so it's been a great offseason for the Patriots, a great offseason. And then you got New Orleans at 40, and they've got to be thinking something at quarterback, although Shador is going to be gone, I think. But they got to be thinking something at quarterback because there's a big mystery around Derek Carr. So it's curious to see what they might just have to draft somebody to get them through the season. I don't think Spencer Rattler's that guy or Jake Haener. But here's one that's interesting. Remember what the Bears did, right? They took Colston Loveland. That's nice. But they've got picks 39 and picks 41. 2 premium second round picks. Boy, it's going to be really interesting to see how they parlay that. If Ben Johnson could be a head coach besides just an OC, Chicago looks dangerous. Jets have 42. Frisco has 43. Dallas 44. Indy 45. And then the Rams, as of right now, are at 46. So there you go. I think that's where we're at. 9 seasons under McSnead, and the Rams have 1 first-round draft pick, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and 1 Super Bowl title, 6 playoff appearances. Yeah, been a nice run. Been a really nice run so far. Let's see. Tim Burns, I still think Quinn Ewers is an easy flyer. He kept Manning on the bench. I think Quinn Ewers would be a great flyer for the Saints. I think he would. If this is all about positioning for next year, then I'm happy with the quarterback room. If you draft a guy in the 6th or 7th, that's cool. I'm good with that. We can say bye to Stetson. But and unless, Steeler fan Rob becomes so desperate that the Steelers give us a first-round pick for Jimmy G or a second-round pick for Jimmy G, I'm not really up for drafting a quarterback until late in the 3rd day. That's where I'm at on that. Neil Gonzalez, Rams are going big to give up 3 first-round picks for the first pick overall in 2026. Are they going to go? Sonny Weaver, give up 3 first-round picks? Just remember, if you give up 3 first-round picks in the same in one draft and you get 1 back, you're only giving up 2 first rounders. Okay. So don't think about you're giving up 3. You're still getting a first rounder in that current draft. It's just the following 2 years that you're giving up. So there we go. Tim Burns, remember, Steeler fan Rob, we are here for you. Absolutely. We are here for you. Okay. I picked on Steeler fan Rob quite a bit. Anybody else? I don't mind about going another 5 minutes here. We got a nice audience. I don't want to leave you guys. Again, so appreciate you for joining me this late night, especially across the pond and across the Baltic there in Scandinavia and Costa Rica and other places. I so appreciate that. A lot of venues to watch post draft talk, and you guys chose me. So thank you. You chose us. I think we've got a good community here. Oh, I hate the word community, but we got a good interaction and rapport here. Let's see. Be sure to check us out from the RamCave. Be sure to check us out on midvalleysports.com. I posted a quick blurb up there. On this night 15 years ago, I said I was going to join a group called Fans Praying for Sam Bradford, who now plays behind the Rams offensive line in St. Louis. And I think I nailed that one 15 years ago. And sure enough, it was there. So there you go. Rob Sorge, that's okay. We did great tonight. Only Lamb fans won't agree. Okay, Pharaoh. We'll start calling you Pharaoh because you're talking about the ancient past of ancient Egypt there. All right. That's cool. Hey, guys, tomorrow I am on the road in the morning. I'll already be at my destination. I will not be in the RamCave. I will be up at Camp Arroyo Grande because I'm on the board of directors for Outsiders Camps. And so I will be coming on probably late again. Less interaction because I'll have people in the room with me. But I will come on after the draft on Friday night just to see how we settled hash, right? And to see how it all worked out. And I'll be catching it in clips because I'll be in meetings. And then on Saturday, I'm speaking on Saturday night. And then I got to get back and preach on Sunday morning, and there could be rain. So I probably will not do a broadcast on Saturday. So just to let you know what's up with me. Be sure to check us out from the RamCave at Spotify. Check out my books on Amazon. And we'll go from there. 3 minutes. Anything else there? Anyone besides Steeler fan Rob have anything that kind of stood out tonight's draft? The things that I guess I didn't go over real quick here is a number of players that the Rams have interviewed are still on the board. If you look at quarterbacks, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe, and Louisville's Tyler Shaw are still on the board. Jarquez Hunter, Auburn, Cam Scadaboo, relax, Mr. Burns. He's still on the board. The receivers the Rams have spoken to, Isaac Tesla, Arkansas, Isaiah Bond, Texas, Tony Horton, Colorado State, Trey Harris, Ole Miss, and of course, Oregon wide receiver Tez Johnson. I don't think with Tutu back, I don't think he's in the cards. The tight ends that are still around, besides Harold Fanning, the Rams didn't interview him. Manny Correa's favorite guy, Thomas Fidone from Nebraska. LSU's Mason Taylor, whose stock skyrocketed the other day. And Gunnar Helm out of Texas, still on the board. Still on the board, Georgia center Jared Wilson, who the Rams have spoken to. Still on the board, interior offensive lineman Jackson Slater, Sacramento State. South Carolina's Torricelli Simpkins III, still on the board. After that, you're looking at Auburn defensive lineman Philip Bleedy. He's a defensive lineman. And then you've got the corners that are still on there. Besides Oz Thomas, you got Zy Alexander, LSU, Dorian Strong, Siobhan Ravel. All these guys are still on the board. Oklahoma linebackers, Danny Stutzman, Carson Bruner, and another Korea favorite, Justin Barron, 6'4", 225, hybrid safety / linebacker. Safeties, Andrew Makuba, Texas, and Jonas Sanker, Virginia safety. They're on the board. So there's still a lot of stuff out there for the Rams to glom onto, and we just wouldn't put anything past them doing something weird. Manny Vasquez, I don't think the Rams are done trading. I think they'll be very active in the middle rounds. I don't know what they're going to do, but I got a sense of it, Hey, we were right. We were talking about, we felt the end conclusion for most of us was they're going to trade out of the first round, and they did. So yeah, I get the sense that if there's something they like, I don't think they'll give up too much capital, but yeah, it could be interesting to see what they do. Like, again, we got a third rounder, right? We got a third rounder at 90. You give them two sixth rounders from the same draft. We don't need volume. We need quality. Maybe you move up 10 spots. Maybe you pair your third rounder and your fourth rounder together and you go up to the top of the third round. Maybe you get to the end of the second round. I don't know. We could look at that and stuff, but I still think there's a possibility they could make some moves. It's the Rams, right? It's the Rams. There we go. All right. We hit the 50-minute mark. You guys are awesome. Thank you for joining me. We're going to get this blasted around social media, and then I got to go pack. And then we will see you tomorrow night after the draft. And God bless, guys. Take care. Exciting draft night. Really was. One of the funnest draft nights I can remember. God bless, guys. Take care. We'll see you. Manana.